Hello, I'm the Commie,
And I am the liberal.
and this is the Commie and the Liberal, which you probably knew if you've been watching this show as much as you do. And
And first of all, if we're going to move
um,
on to
let's
the COVID-19 vaccination rate, and then we're going to look at the news because we have breaking news of a drone as well as the booster shot.
right.
First of all, it's the vaccination rate. Fully vaccinated, 54.4% in general, at least one dose, 63.6%. Let's see the death rate here for COVID. COVID 19 death rate went up by 3,391. That was just yesterday, and 249,364 new cases. Still not good.
Yeah.
Dr. Fauci mentioned about this COVID-19 death rate. He said that if people continue to be in the now, we're going to start having 5,000 deaths per day. And that we don't want. And now moving on to the COVID-19 booster shots. Like
Well, let's see. Breaking
we got
news.
breaking news on the
The
booster shots, and of course the airstrikes in
The
Afghanistan.
FDA's expert panel backs COVID-19 booster shots for adults 65 and older and those at highest risk of severe disease. Meanwhile, U.S. admits Kabul drone strike killed 10 civilians. 10 innocent people died because of an unnecessary war, and the UN and the head should look at this as a war crime.
It is a war crime, and you gotta think about this. Joe Biden earlier this year sent out an airstrike against Assad regime in Syria earlier this year, and I tell you, he did not get commission approval by Congress to send that airstrike. That's a war crime, sending out an airstrike without getting Congress approval.
Well, it's unconstitutional, and it's also a war crime because it was targeting civilians, and that's not legal. So Biden will now join the long list of presidents who are war criminals.
And Joe Biden is responsible for 10 deaths, by the way, for doing the airstrike. Can you pull that up again, please? 10 deaths he's responsible for.
Yeah, but U.S. Central Command investigation found that an aid worker and 9 members of his family, including 7 children, died in the August 29th strike. What's happening here with the media? Because at first it was reported that it was 9 children, and now it's saying 7 children. So
I don't know what's wrong with
I'm
the
not
media.
sure what's going on here.
But to be honest with you people, whatever the media is doing is incorrect, because if they're saying that 9 children died on August 29th a month ago, and now they're saying only 7 children died a month ago, they're not. Something's up right now, and they're not getting this correct and straightening it out. It's kind of like on 9/11, where they covered everything up. So that's the way 9/11 was. It was a cover up.
Yeah, it's kind of like the war on terror, the whole media there. The media was fully on the side of war, and they fired anti-war voices, and those voices in the media, and many of whom were on the left, were fired unjustly, because of the fact that they were advocating for anti-war voices, and the whole media showed propaganda that was totally pro-war for a good 3 or 4 years ago or so, which is what I meant to say.
And I tell you, the media was with all the wars for 3 or 4
They
years,
were.
and they went against the left, which were against the war, and of course that were part of the media.
They didn't give us a voice, and that's why
Somebody just put that out.
why there to be. Ooh, we got a comment for once.
Yes, we did.
It
says
Patrick's time. FDA panel rejects board. Pfizer booster jobs shuttling Biden's plan, endorses limited shots for quote at risk unquote elderly. Thank you for noting that. And
thank you for noting that. Patrick, sometime.
Yeah, we'll be getting to that in a second, but the whole media was totally behind and was totally in favor of war, and they were totally pro-war for such a long time.
Okay, it says here on Patrick's time, you guys want to see more some sort of centralization of power.
Well, that's an interesting question. In the sense that we want.
It says here, Patrick's time.
We do not.
You guys advocate on behalf of the establishment.
No, we do not. We're very much anti-establishment, and I think the absolute
you're forgetting what you were going to say about the establishment.
Yeah, we're not pro-establishment at all. We're very much anti-establishment. I think the whole point of this show is, can communism and liberalism coexist? That's funny. Someone knocked on the window. But I think the whole point is, are we going to have a society that is that is for the mega rich and the wealthy, or not?
Well, if you,
I think that's the problem.
If you think about this, Patrick, sometime when you try to advocate on the establishment, I tell you, you are trying to give the rich more power,
right?
Than give the poor and the middle class power. That's one thing you gotta think about. It says here we need this.
I don't agree with that. I think if you mean decentralization in the sense of a decentralized planned economy or something like that, then I think it's worthy to say maybe so.
It says, who are you waiting on to give you power?
Well, good question.
Yeah, that's a good question. We're still trying to figure out how everything works right now. So that's a good question.
Waiting on. Here's what I'm waiting on: a better society to come out where everybody is equal and everybody has the same respects as anybody else has. which doesn't make sense. That's the joke.
I'm gonna tell you. What we do need is, of course, a better society, and I tell you, to be honest with you, if we were to if we were to have somebody give us some power, I wanted to just say we will want, of course, a better society, because our society is horrible right now across the United States of America, because you got to look at climate change. California's fires is still burning right now. And that's not good. The fires are still burning right now. The Weather Channel put out a new video of the fires burning yesterday.
Right.
And that the fire yesterday that the Weather Channel put out a new video on, of course, it burned 40,000 acres, which is horrible.
Majority Report. Here's something I think. Basically, what we sort of are, and what this show is, we are. I myself am a communist, and he's the liberal, and we're commenting on. We're trying to put our ideas together and have it see if coexist.
It says you guys are high.
Yep, no. No,
nobody. Definitely we're not high right now.
I'm actually opposed to marijuana. So.
But I do oppose the marijuana though, because it's a benefit. It's a benefit of the economy.
That's
and health wise. That's why I'm opposed on marijuana for that reason. Marijuana should be used for medical use, because there's lots of people in this world that have AIDS or cancer. And marijuana, of course, gets rid of cancer and AIDS.
I don't know about that, but I think it's a drug that is a drug, and I think it's something that we should maybe ignore a little bit from us. But I think the whole thing in regards to politics and political aspirations is that we have a society currently right now, a country that is so that has such massive wealth inequality that we need a society to have a lot better policy wise, and I'm sure the liberal would agree that we need just a country that works better for all of us and not just the privileged few. And it's unfair when you have a billionaire. Okay, now you're being a little patronizing. Here's the point. The point is that we think that the country is unequal when it comes to wealth, and we have such high wealth inequality that we cannot sustain a society for everyone. We need one that works for all and not just the privileged few. And I would say to you, Mr. Patrick's time is, and I would say to all viewers and everyone else, uh, uh, is that we need a a better world to be created. We need one that goes beyond the capitalism and capitalist system and goes into a better that works for us all.
Excuse me, please. Patrick's time has a question about society. It says here, you really like the word society?
Well, I don't think that matters. I think the point is in the point. There is a lot of talk about how much we can have a better life and a better time in the world, and I think it's serious to say maybe it's interesting. Well, I guess I can reveal that. I got the Pfizer vaccine. I got both two vaccines, and we were vaccinated. He's been vaccinated as well.
So let you know, I got 2 doses of the Pfizer vaccine. And of course, what Trevor meant to say that he got 2 doses of the Pfizer vaccine too. That's what he meant to say.
So, yeah, I think what we're seeing, and I think the whole point here is you have people in office on the right, like moron DeSantis, who is.
It appears you both may have been damaged by the jab. What are you going to continue to say about moron DeSantis? Because he is a moron, obviously. You know, he did not do a thing about, of course, the mask mandate in the vaccines. Fauci slammed them for that, and which I don't blame him. And of course, the courts overturned moron DeSantis from banning mask mandates and vaccine mandates, and I don't blame them. That's what happens when a moron tries to ban mask mandates as well as vaccine mandates.
Well, yes, I think the obvious is this, that the quote Howard Stern, who cares about your what freedom? I deserve to have the freedom to live as opposed to not. So when it comes to the vaccine, we should all be happy and we should all get the vaccine. I think it's unfortunate that you have so many Republican governors who are opposed to the obvious, which is getting the vaccine and promoting it and doing the support of vaccine mandates. And it seems to me that it just doesn't work. So, I mean, we'll see, but I think there needs to be stronger mandates. Um, so, so
Okay. He put right now.
and
I wanted to just tell you what he just put out. It says here the jab does not work, and it also says here 12 out of 13 countries on John Hopkins list of the most vaccinated or currently listed by the CDC as high or very high COVID travel risk. And I'm not surprised they have a very high COVID travel risk because most countries either don't have enough doses of the vaccine, or if not have enough doses of the vaccine, there's breakthrough infections because the vaccine's not 100% effective. And not only that, some countries' vaccination rates are much lower than other countries' vaccination rates. Like, for example, the US is 54.4% fully vaccinated in general, and at least one dose, 63.6%. So our vaccination rate is a lot better than all the other countries, but still not enough. It could be a lot better still.
It could, and I think the vaccine, the whole thing, the whole shtick about how the vaccine doesn't work or that it's just not at the effectiveness, all of that is misinformation. And I think people need to turn off Fox and all those other right-wing media news sites and organizations. They are lying to you, and they're doing that for views and for viewers and clicks. And it's unfortunate that this is the case, but they're doing it in order to try to fabricate uh, real facts, and you can't necessarily have. You can maybe try to do ways, do things, but you aren't entitled to your own facts. And I think the whole region of Florida, in particular, is really getting hurt by these facts.
It says here how old are you? And
I'm 17.
I'm 22. It says where do you live?
New Orleans.
Yeah, I lived in New Orleans.
It's nice that you're enjoying the show, and since we've been on the air for 24 minutes now, so and you've been commenting for 23 minutes and 58 seconds. But
it's nice to have you on the show, by the way.
He's not on the show, he's just commenting.
Okay.
But we have more news to get to, and that's Arnold Schwarzenegger says, quote, "Recall debacle has sunk California GOP from box office flop to, quote, direct-to-video movie." Direct-to-video, rather, sorry. I said movie at the end. He actually said direct-to-video. But anyway, Quote, California Republicans thought they had found a unifying rallying cry in the recall attempt against Governor Gavin Newsom, unquote, the Los Angeles Times reports. Quote, instead, the campaign exposed and even worsened some of the long-standing clashes between the establishment and grassroots base, while leaving unsettled the question of how the party can stop its losing streak in the state, unquote. Nearly 64% uh, uh, of Californians voted to keep Newsom in office. And we know why he won re-election. It was because he did a good job of nationalizing the race. And he did this by painting Larry Elder, the Republican candidate against him, the main Republican candidate anyway against him, is because they he's gone.
Okay.
To basically the whole candidate is so that way they it's funny that most of the Republican politicians act like they're high.
Yeah, a lot of the Republican politicians
I
act
should
like
have said
they're
that
high.
earlier in the show.
Yeah, that's one thing she should have said earlier on the show, that a lot of Republican politicians are actually high because they do stuff
They
that
act
they're
like
not
they're
supposed to, you know? So they totally act like they're high. But now,
I recommend that Keith Olbermann video where he did a funny, when he did a sort of thing where he talked about how Republicans are high.
yeah, we could play that Keith Olbermann video by the way. Telling
No, we don't have it.
we don't have it anymore.
Yeah.
I guess it must have got erased, but so to let you know, everybody, we had a video a couple years ago of Keith Olbermann saying that the Republican Party is very high because of the way they behave. And by the way, viewers, we apologize if we can't show you the video because it might have got erased. Because
no, it's not erased. We're just not equipped to show.
Okay.
But nearly 64% of Californians voted to keep Newsom in office. And again, it's because Elder who got 47%, according to incomplete results on Friday, today. It shows how extreme Elder was. He was too extreme for California. And I think that's a big reason why he lost. Because a big part of his loss was simply that the whole thing, the whole show was to the right, to the far right, and he was pro-Trump and was anti-COVID vaccine and restrictions he was against, and they're very popular in California. He was against gun control. So he leaned to the right, and he never tried to do a moderate type thing. And I think that's a big reason why he lost in the show, the election, was that. And I think it shows that it's just the obvious state. And it seems to me it's that Elder just couldn't make it out. He just couldn't do it well. And Newsom won because he nationalized the race and just implemented Trumpism. That he was opposed to Trumpism, and I think that's a big reason why he won Newsom. The one thing I should say against, though, is that he hasn't been 100% when it comes to the virus. When it comes to not the virus, the policy, when it comes to Medicare for all, when it comes to climate change restrictions, etc., universal basic income, all that is the problem here. It just isn't the same, likewise, as it could be, and he just hasn't done a lot to support his policy. He hasn't implemented a lot of good policy, and I think that's a big reason why he isn't doing it, and is why he's owned. He's to a big extent by the rich in California, and I think that's a big reason why he's lost.
And by the way, everybody, the Republicans that lost, as far as I'm concerned, are just the ones that were hard headed. By the way, and the Democrats that won are the ones that weren't hard headed, except of course Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin. You know. By the way, we got some more breaking news on the vaccines. With the booster shot.
FDA panel votes for Pfizer's booster shot for ages 65 plus. This is interesting. France recalls ambassadors to U.S., Australia in protest of nuclear submarine deal. So,
are you gonna keep some of the comments? Or?
Yeah. Yeah. So, CNN report reveals Trump's plan to make it easier to, quote, subvert the will of the voters, unquote, in 2024. So yeah. So, that's interesting news. And other news also, panel of judges ruled 2018 law requiring photo ID to vote in North Carolina is unconstitutional. So, North Carolina's law requiring photo ID to vote, latest in a decade of courtroom defeats for Republican legislators. Moderna's vaccine is the most effective, but Pfizer and J&J also protect well, CDC-led study says.
And that's just breaking news for Pfizer, Moderna, and J&J. They voted on the booster shot for Pfizer earlier today, and of course They voted it down for people under the age of 65.
Judge Clarence Thomas hypocritically says courts are quote asking for trouble unquote when they wade into politics. You didn't think that when maybe Al Gore was in the whole ruling there with Bush v. Gore. You didn't think that then. You should have. And the same could be said with Citizens United. Same could be said with the union ruling from 3 years ago. I mean, they simply, to a big extent, have not been there for a while. So, and he certainly hasn't been home. Hasn't been home in a long time.
Oh, by the way, people,
Sarah
we
Palin.
got breaking news on Sarah Palin. It says Sarah Palin would feel she has not gotten vaccinated because she believes in science. And as far as I'm concerned, the science did not say that not getting vaccinated, you will not get COVID-19.
That's sort of anti-science.
So she is totally anti-science, Sarah Palin. The science said that if you get the vaccine, as far as I'm concerned, it will prevent you from severe COVID-19. Yeah. But as far as I'm concerned, Dr. Fauci said that it won't prevent you from mild symptoms or, of course, asymptomatic COVID-19. But it will keep you from getting severe COVID-19 and prevent hospitalization and death.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what Sarah Palin is doing is wrong, and what Sarah Palin said was false information, by the way.
Budget bill still being held up by Sinema and Manchin, and now 3 conservative. It's funny that they're right-wing Democrats, and I almost said Republican because that's basically what they are. They're no better than them. Voted blocked the bill that would let Medicare negotiate drug prices to Big Pharma. So we have that. Let's talk about that. I personally think that the budget bill, which we talked about it already, the use of the best things about the budget bill. And in the last episode. And I think this time it shows that the whole budget bill is basically out there for it to work. It could help and would take over half of children out of poverty. It would cut that much out. It would cut half of kids in poverty. It would cut that in half. It would help people who are struggling to get into college with making community college free. And a lot of other things it would help. So because of that reason, we should say, and I certainly think this, that this is a budget bill that every Democrat, and certainly maybe not Republican, but every Democrat and even a few Republicans should support, because it is a bill that would help a lot of people who are in trouble right now in this country. So it seems to me, and it shows here, that it's wrong to say that it won't be big and bad, the opposition to this bill. And I think it is, and I think most people would agree, the biggest and best bill since the New Deal. And it brings us back in time to the Great Society. And it shows that it's really has to be the best time in place that we could ever have. And I think for that reason, we should support the budget bill, and it should pass. And what do you think about Manchin and Sinema still blocking the bill? And I know Biden met with the two of them yesterday. And also, not only that, but also the other thing, the Medicare negotiating drug prices for people, for the public, was blocked temporarily anyway by three so-called Democrats who were on the committee. So what don't you think?
I think what should happen is we should pass the bill and not let it get blocked by the committee. Because if we don't pass the bill, poor people will be suffering, no infrastructure, middle class will be suffering, there'll be homelessness, there'll be sleeping outside, and of course no free college and tuition, no free education. That's just totally wrong, And by the way, people, we're going to move on to the weather and climate change. One of the things I wanted to tell you is that we found out with Tropical Storm Nicholas, okay, the one that blew out the sea. Tropical Storm Nicholas came back, and now it's a regular storm, and it's going to make its way to Minnesota tomorrow. And by the way, just because it blows out to sea doesn't mean it won't return. That's the problem right now. Also, people, the weather's going to be changing where we're at. We saw the daytime highs for next week. The nighttime lows will be in the 60s. The daytime highs will be in the 70s and 80s. The 90s will be disappearing after this week until October. And we have a cool front coming in next Wednesday that will drop temperatures down to the 60s. Now, I'm going to tell you something about the 60s, for example. I grew up on 60-degree weather or warmer. Across the world, especially the United States, I looked it up on Google and even on the Weather Channel. 60 degrees is considered short weather across the world. And I tell you, 60 degrees is perfect. I tell you. Even Trevor, my communist, will even tell you that 60 degrees is short weather. And every time you watch the Weather Channel, even look it up on Google, they tell everybody that's going to be getting up into the 60s or even hotter than that, to make sure you drink plenty of fluid, stay hydrated, make sure you do not leave your pets and animals unattended. Make sure you wear lightweight and loose-fitting clothing when possible to reduce the risk of outdoor work during warm or hot weather. And make sure you only go outside when needed. It's just as simple as that. If it's 60 degrees or hotter, that's the whole point about warm weather and hot weather. You go outside when needed. Now, of course, if it's below 60, if it's in the 50s, for example, maybe you could get away with shorts, but most of the times I tell you, you gotta have a jacket on. As far as I'm concerned, other times you have to have long pants on, and that's if the highs are only in the 50s, or if it's in the 50s and it won't be in the 60s for an hour or for more than an hour from now. But otherwise, anything below 50 degrees, you definitely can't have shorts on for sure. You got to dress warmly. You got to have a jacket or a coat on. You got to have long pants on. You got to have long johns on. And you got to have either 1, 2, or 3 layers of clothing on. And that is the problem if it's below 50 degrees. If it's 50 degrees or warmer, you can get by with 2 layers of clothing or 1 layer of clothing or a jacket and pants on, or you could get away with just a jacket and shorts on. But that's only if it's 50 degrees or warmer. 60 degrees or warmer, you could get away with a short sleeve shirt and shorts on, by the way. Especially if the highs are in the 60s or hotter. Now, the daytime highs are going to be in the 70s and 80s where we're at next week, and the nighttime lows are in the 60s. So despite the fact that the morning lows will be in the 60s, hey, you can still get away with the short sleeve shirt and shorts on because the highs are in the 70s and 80s. That's why you can still get by with a short sleeve shirt and shorts on. And hey, as long as it's getting up to the 60s or hotter, even 60 degrees is considered short weather. Even Trevor would tell you 60 degrees is considered short weather. The reason why it's dropping down to the 60s is because of Tropical Storm Nicholas. Tropical Storm Nicholas messed up our weather, by the way. It messed up the weather for up north as well as in the south. Also, up north, the daytime highs are in the 70s, 80s, and even 90s. Nighttime lows are in the 60s and 70s, which is considered short weather. Out west, daytime highs are in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and 100s. Nighttime lows, 60s and 70s, which is considered short weather, by the way.
It is. Interesting stuff. Great stuff. We'll take our first break.
Yeah, we'll take our first break. This is the Commie and the Liberal, everybody. We'll be right back.
Okay, we are
Okay,
back.
we are back, everybody, from our break. Our father William Taylor will be taking over from 5 to 7 in about 6.5 minutes from now. I'll be signing off in 6.5 minutes from now until Monday.
Well,
But
I wanted to say something to Mr. Patrick's time if he does come back in on watch. Uh, I have this problem where I can't necessarily think things, where like I have this sort of problem where uh, I try to think of things, but it just doesn't come in, and uh, things just fall out. I guess you could say I black out, and I just wanted to say that to him and to you that
yes,
I've just been having trouble lately with that. But I hope it doesn't hurt the integrity of the show, and I will still intend as long as I have some. Uh,
you have
um,
some time.
as long as I have some, yeah, time to do the show. So, uh,
Just
so,
to
yeah.
just to warn you, everybody. Speaking of our communists of trouble having trouble thinking, our father William Taylor has Parkinson's disease, and I tell you, one of the symptoms of Parkinson's disease is, of course, trembling of the hand, having trouble thinking, constantly forgetting things, and of course, memory loss and aches and pains. All of that is symptoms of Parkinson's disease. Now, as for communist travel,
Right.
we will have to figure out what's causing them to have problems with his thinking, because it's not looking too good if he's having problems thinking.
Right. But we will try to move on now. Let's talk a little bit about a story that I think is fake, and that's that Nicki Minaj,
Made of
according to her, a friend of her ex boyfriend, I think it's her ex boyfriend, um,
got them the vac.
got the vaccine, and it led to him getting swollen balls. And here's what I think: two things. One, why is the media covering this big point of misinformation like they are? It makes no sense to me. And two, I think it's total hodgepodge. I don't think it's real. There's no evidence that that it exists, that it happened, and I think there's no evidence that any of that, when it comes to
The
the vaccine,
vaccines.
out of the hundreds of millions of people who have gotten it, there's no evidence that it leads to swollen balls or anything like that. And I think she made this up just to get attention and to get likes and clicks on the internet. I think she just did that on purpose to do that. And I think it's wrong because it is a big part of disinformation. And it's that misinformation that has led to a lot of people to reject the vaccine and to not take it. And there's going to be a lot of people, some people who might say, whoa, we're not going to take the vaccine now because look at what happened to Nicki Minaj. Because Minaj is popular, as we all know, and is a favorite among many people. So, as a result, I think it shows that it is problematic and it shows difficulty in healthy people.
Okay, everybody. So to let you know, I'm going to be signing off on a show today. By the way, our father William Taylor is going to go ahead and take over. By the way, and so to let you know, everybody, I'll see you on Monday at 4 o'clock p.m. And thank you for commenting on the show, Patrick's Time. It was nice talking to you today.
Don't say that. But yeah,
And of course
we appreciate the feedback.
Yes, we all appreciate the feedback, everybody.
I don't agree with it, but it's imperative that we have feedback, and we obviously, even if you're from the other side, you sort of do have a right to comment. But this is a show
for liberal
lots
and communism and left-wing people.
It's right to say different, and I think it is a good type of show. But anyway, the liberal will be signing off now, and coming up will be
William Taylor, our dad. Yes.
Is, I think, doing a lot better than what I am doing right now. So.
And this, I'm doing a lot better than what he's doing right now, too. And by the way, everybody, I'm going to sign off right now. This is the liberal Perry Williams, and I will see you on Monday at 4 p.m. Before the William Taylor takes over right now on hour 2 on the Commie and the Liberal. This is the Commie and the Liberal. Have a good day, everyone. Hello, Father. It's time for you to take over.
Hi, how's everybody doing?
Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
Good saying hello to you.
I have this problem, and I talked with Perry about this, where I just can't think. It's hard for me to function, really, to think things, and things sort of come out, and it's weird. I don't know why that is. And I hope
it might be telling you you might need to take some extra time sleeping to relax your body.
I do that, so yeah. I don't think that's why.
Okay. Well, they do have, okay, I don't know how well it works, but they do have vitamins at the store.
Let's not talk about drugs.
Okay, well, we're just talking about it's supposed to help you with your memory.
I mean, it's I don't want to get
we're not going to
flagged for talking about drugs on YouTube.
Well, this is it's personal, talking.
Yeah, it is.
Pertains, Yeah. So we'll just get off the topic. So no big deal. So what were you guys mumbling about?
I like to think I have a high IQ. So.
Well, I like to think that too, because part of your IQ came from my IQ.
What's your IQ?
I've never checked.
That wasn't aimed at you. That was aimed at Mr. Patrick's time.
I've never checked. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, anyway, the thing is that we have big news, and was the U.S. admits that it killed 10 people in a drone strike
Just
that
recent, huh?
were, all civilians. It was a family. 9 of them were part of the family, and 7 were children. And they were killed in the drone strike. I think what it shows is imperialism, but also it's a war crime. And now Biden will join the long list of U.S. presidents
Why, has he said they were going to attack?
that have committed war crimes. And so you could have a lot of trouble.
And which country is this again?
In Afghanistan, there was a drone strike and
Okay.
killed 11 people.
That's that's real bad. Unfortunately, that area of the world has always been bad for bad. It's terrible how easily they shoot each other, as well as do other things like rape and assault and everything else. So, I mean, it's terrible. I would say that people are going to start saying, should we had come home, and all that stuff. Heck yeah, he should come home. He's been out there all those years. I was reading about this morning how much money, over billions of dollars, cost. But who cares about that? It's the lives that were unbelievable that were lost. I don't know. It's somewhere under 4,000. So regular civilians as well as military. So we do not need to go back into that situation. Let them handle it. That's the way I feel about it. We knock on too many doors. We are not wanted. We do not. It's not our place to police the world. To take care of our own country and our own people. And those that want to work together as like the United Nations type of thing. You want to work together, let's be friends. Let's do it. Share things that we can share with each other, something that somebody doesn't have but somebody else does, and just prosper together and become work to become friends.
Absolutely.
What are you saying?
Well, I think one of the things we talked about in the show is 3 conservative Democrats are temporarily blocking the bill that would allow Medicare to negotiate drug prices.
This is the same usual idiot that's keeping us back.
He, and I think you mean Joe.
Mr. Idiot and Miss Idiot, because there's 2 of them.
I think you mean Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema, but we're
Really,
talking
assholes.
About the House. Yeah. They
Actually, you don't deserve my recognition of whatever. Just so cancel out.
Yeah, they definitely are the 2 most dastardly members of the Senate, arguably, other than Mitch McConnell, but they're blocking the agenda in the Senate. But in the House, the Medicare, we're negotiating for drug prices. They are blocked in the House by these 3 conservative Dems. One of whom is Kathleen Rice, who is someone that we definitely don't like, really want in this economy. And I think she is, along with the rest of them, um, is just saying the usual stuff, uh, and are she's very much a part of the very serious people in the uh, political sphere. And I think she and the two other uh, Dems who are blocking it, they deserve to be primary. And two of them, of the three, took a combination of 2.7 million from big pharma and big pharma companies. So this definitely has everything to do with special interests, and I think it shows that we need a better war, better policy than we had. What do you think about this?
What I think about this, let me see. What we need to do brings back memories. I wrote a little story about it back at Panama City Beach Bay News. Uh, and it was in regards to, it was New Year's Eve. And I wrote about this song that's called We Are the World. Listen, we are the world together. It brought, the article I wrote brought tears to my eyes as I wrote it. Tears to my eyes, I discussed it about it uh, because I knew it's a truth that needs to be welcomed by every different person throughout the world. Who cares? You speak different. Who cares? Probably get dressed wearing different things that we want. Uh, let's say you're different, we're different. That's the way it goes. You meet each other and you learn how to communicate with each other by mouth, by or orally, by speaking. You know, uh, converse, by doing something that is, you know, uh, bad like war. There's no reason at all that we need to, do things that go to violence of any kind. Hey, you over in North Korea, we could be friends. Hey, you in Russia, we could be friends. China, friends. America, we could be friends. All it needs to do is put the best foot forward.
Well, we got to stand up to China, though, when it comes to trade, because they have been devaluing their currency and they've been violating lots of trade law regulations and international law. So that's something we need to do. Is
When
go after
with
China.
China, like you talked
Because a lot of jobs have been outsourced to China and to a lot of these other countries here. And I think a big problem with that is, and the thing that started the whole decline of the U.S. job market uh, was, in Canada's and Mexico, was the NAFTA. That was made by Bill Clinton, and that was a big mistake that they should not have done. So I think that is what the case is.
There's a lot of things that shouldn't have been done, uh, and we need to realize it and talk things over and see which is the right direction to go for everyone. That way, we're moving towards accomplishing something that really matters, and that's peace and brotherhood and love thy neighbor. Might not love him at first, but eventually you can love thy neighbor. But there's no reason for anybody to do anything uh, physical except a hug. Hug would be great, you know, or fist right now.
Ask Bailey.
So, so what do you think about this?
I don't know her or anything, but
No, I don't know.
she's interesting. She's I assume, a good person. No.
Well, hey, I was while you and your brother were talking and all that stuff. I was kind of looking at different things uh, pertaining to entertainment because I'm going to be coming shortly. I'll be coming to you about entertainment, about horror.
Yep, he's still working on getting that show started.
Oh yeah, you bet. And I was thinking the good news is I was thinking later in October, but now I'm going to October month, Halloween month begins at 12 midnight, 12:01, October 1st. So I have to be ready for it. I don't know if I'll do, I haven't decided quite yet if I'll do one day or two or three. Three would probably be the max I would go. But we'll see. I'm thinking about things. I was writing down different things about it. This weekend on Saturday, Spenguli, you know who he is. The and what he's having, the movie is the 1931 Dracula with Bela Lugosi. So that's pretty good. And then next week, when I followed up on it, they have Blood of Dracula. So I'm going to be busy looking up both these things up in my on my computer. So
Taste the blood of Dracula.
oh,
I don't
yeah,
want.
dynamite. So it's going to finally get me
That was
hyper
a hammer.
about proceeding with my horror channel. So something to fill you in on as time goes on. So now I hope everybody is going to have a nice, enjoyable, of course, fall month of the season of fall, and then of course we have the let me think what it was Oktoberfest. Yeah, that's another fun thing that coincides with Halloween because they're in the same month. So that'd be something to get ready for. Uh, we need to take a grip on things and make a step in the right direction. Remember that. Always remember that. Don't go backwards. Go forwards. If you can't go, just stay and meditate. And eventually you get to the point and decide, no, this is what I should do. What do you think on that?
Well, I think it shows that it's interesting, but we have so I wanted to react to something that was said, done on the program.
What, a little earlier?
And that was with the history of rock and roll.
Oh, yes. Rock and roll is rock and roll.
And one of our friendly options on the internet, the Majority Report, said something about rock that I don't think is true and was unfortunate and somewhat misrepresented rock and roll and how it was done. And here's what I think. It started yesterday when I'll tell you more in a minute. We're taking a break. This is the Commie and the Liberal.